Those of you that know me best know that I am through and through a wreck diver. But I have to say, wow, what a fantastic book. I'm only halfway through reading it right now, but when I'm finished, this is going to be my first book review for Divers Ready. So stay tuned for that. But for now, that can go back up on the shelf there because we have other things to talk about. If you watched last week's Mouthpiece Monday, you'll know that this is going to be part 2 of a 2-part introduction to the discipline of technical diving. Now, last week in part 1, which I will link above there somewhere, we started to talk about what is technical diving, what are the defining features of the discipline. This week, I am going to be giving you my top 5 signs that you yourself as a certified diver may be ready for the challenge of technical diver training. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome to Divers Ready. My name is James. It is so great to see all of your smiling faces here. Fantastic to have you. Thanks for joining me. If you're new to this channel, I am a professional technical diving instructor and digital content creator, and we make videos with one simple goal in mind: to help make you a better scuba diver. So if you haven't done so already, you know where that subscribe button is down there. Make your next dive on there, click the little diving bell icon, and that way you'll never miss any of our awesome content. I want to thank all of you that watched part 1 of Intro to Technical Diving, one of our biggest videos yet, and I appreciate everyone that commented and asked questions below. Don't forget, if you do have questions on social media, the easiest way to get my attention to answering them is to use the hashtag AskDiversReady. So later in this video, I'm going to be giving you my one single biggest piece of advice if you go through my list of signs and you think you might be ready for technical diver training, for how to actually start learning to be a technical diver. It's a huge piece of advice. Stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. But first, let's dive straight into my top 5 signs that you yourself might even be ready. Out in front, number 1 sign that you are ready for technical diver training is that you have the foundation skills down cold. So whilst all technical diver courses have prerequisites, that is, courses you need to complete before you're eligible to start your technical diver education, more important than those prerequisites, in my mind as a technical diver instructor, is that you have solid mastery of the 4 foundation skills of scuba diving. So we talked about the 4 foundational skills of scuba diving in a video we made a little while ago called Are You Experienced? And I'll link that up there somewhere. And in that video, I also give you what is my personal 5th secret foundation skill of scuba diving. So if you haven't done so already, I suggest you check that video out. But I will say right now, do not even think about starting technical diver training if, for example, you are still sculling with your hands for propulsion or to control your movement in the water, or if you're breathing like a runaway steam train going downhill, or if your trim resembles a passed out drunk on a park bench, or if you have the buoyancy control of the Hindenburg. It was a long time ago. My point is, you just won't make it. You need to have mastery of all 4 of those skills. So, as I've said in other videos before, the best tool that you can use to assess yourself in the water is a video camera. Go get yourself a Paralens, get yourself a GoPro, have your buddy film you in the water and check out your trim, check out your buoyancy. You can see your breathing rate if you're on open circuit. You can just measure your bubbles and make sure that you're exhaling for the same amount of time that you're inhaling and that you're not holding your breath, and that you have a good solid finning technique. And another point on that, just from a practical point of view, is if you don't have your breathing under control, if your sac rate is sky high, then the chances are you're going to breathe your gas reserve down before you even go past your no decompression limit, in which case spending money on technical diver training is just a waste. Hey, I'm just trying to save you money. I think that sign number 2 that you are ready for the challenge of technical diver training is that you are comfortable at the edge of your current boundaries of training, but you also respect those limitations. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you are an advanced open water diver with a deep diver certification and nitrox certification, you should be comfortable making recreational dives to the edge of your certification, 39, 40 meters, 120, 130 feet. That's how deep you're allowed to go. So you should be comfortable making dives to those depths, but you should also respect your limitations. you should have the mindset of conservancy so that you're not going deeper than you're permitted to go and you're not staying longer, i.e. going past your no decompression limit. Technical diving requires discipline. If you're not disciplined and you can't execute a dive as you've planned it, you're definitely not a candidate for technical diving. But if you are that person who knows where their limits are and has comfort approaching the limits but doesn't exceed them, then absolutely you should consider taking your dives to the technical level. Signifier number 3 that you are ready for technical diving is that you are able to check your ego at the dock. There are old divers, there are bold divers, but there are no old, bold divers. Technical diving requires a certain humility. It requires the ability to self-criticize, self-assess, identify weaknesses, admit to them, own them, and work on them to get better. There is no place in technical diving for ego. And as I'm fond of saying, complacency is the mother of disaster. So I'd like to add to that if you have a tendency towards the conservative and you have the ability to be humble, that is already a good mindset to start technical diver training, because there is a certain amount of having to relearn how to dive again. You're going to be in a new equipment configuration, be that closed circuit, semi-closed circuit, or at least in open circuit doubles. You're going to be carrying stage bottles, which might not be something that you've done a lot of before. So there is a lot of relearning. If you come into technical diver training thinking that you're a kick-ass diver, you might well be at recreational level, but there's still going to be a big jump in the learning. So that humility is going to serve you well. Signifier number 4 that you are ready for the challenge of technical diver training is that you are a bit of a nerd. There will be maths, there will be science. For example, one of the core skills of a technical diver is the ability to use a calculator, a piece of paper, and a pencil to longhand plan out a decompression schedule and full dive plan. And the reason we still teach that way, even though yes, we use dive computers as a tool for planning, is because it gives you an essential oversight of what is supposed to be happening at each phase of the dive. And then when you're in the water on a technical dive, during your training or otherwise, it behooves oneself to keep those laws of physics at the forefront of your mind, because should something go wrong and you need to adapt and overcome an obstacle, that problem-solving ability is going to rely on your knowledge of the physics of diving. So if you have a natural proclivity towards the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and maths, technical diving should suit you to a T. And I'll also throw in there, guys, I'm not a natural mathematician. I have to work really hard to be as average as I am at maths. So if you hate maths, don't be necessarily put off, but just know you're going to have a lot of work to do. And last but not least, sign number 5 that you are ready for the challenge of technical diving is you are ready to make an investment in yourself. And I'm not talking about a spiritual investment or a learning curve or, nourishing your soul. No, I mean a money investment. Cold, hard cash. There's no way around it, folks. Technical diving is expensive. It's even expensive when compared to recreational diving. Let's say you're already a technical diver, you're certified and you're ready to go out on a tech trip. Number 1, technical diving trips cost more than recreational dive trips because deeper wreck sites tend to be further offshore, so they need to cover the cost of fuel of the boat to get out there. In addition, you're also going to be paying for funky gas mixes, which you don't do with recreation. You just maybe pay a little bit extra for nitrox, or air and weights are usually included. Thirdly, normally you're not going to be renting gear at a technical level, and you're going to have to invest in a lot of gear. Do not make the mistake that I see all the time, which is recreational divers trying to make their recreational dive gear work for technical diving. I'm not being snobby here, but scuba diver manufacturers are very good at making hybrid or crossover or whatever you want to say, and they include words like tech in the title of their gear, and they're not really true technical diving pieces of equipment. So another free piece of advice here, if you're looking to get into tech and you do want to invest in your own set of gear, reach out to your technical diving instructor even before the course has started and tell them what gear specifically that you're considering, and they will give you the thumbs up or thumbs down. But in a general sense, just know that the gear you're going to invest in for technical diving will be more rugged, more durable, designed for the task, and therefore will be a step up in price from your regulator and your BCD setup that you bought for recreational diving. Plus, you're just going to need more of it. It adds up fast, and I think the point I'm trying to make here is there is no cheap way to do technical diving. Wow, James, way to end your points on a downer. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from taking up the challenge of technical diving. Quite the opposite. That's how I make my bread and butter. But what I do want to do is make sure that you guys have the best information to hand to make sure you're ready so you don't waste your time and money. Okay, so you've listened to my 5 points and you think that that sounds like you and you may be ready for the challenge of technical diver training. How do you start? What is my single biggest piece of advice? Well, pin your ears back, ladies and gentlemen, because here it comes. Shop around for your instructor. Unlike recreational courses where you'll wander into your dive center, be that in your hometown or when you're on vacation somewhere tropical, and inquire as to an open water course or an advanced course or a rescue diver or a specialty, and the person in the shop will say, yes, okay, great, we can sign you up, and this is Bob, and Bob is available right now because he happens to be on duty and he's just twiddling his thumb. So Bob, me, insert your name here, and off you go together, and Bob teaches you whatever the course may be. That lackadaisical attitude really doesn't fly when selecting a technical diving instructor, for a number of reasons. Number one, you're going to pay this person a hell of a lot of money. Technical diving training isn't cheap. Number two, you're going to be spending a lot of time with your tech instructor. You're going to want to make sure that you get the most bang for your buck. And what I mean by that is that you want to ensure that your tech instructor's teaching style meshes with the way you best learn. You're going to have theory classes with them, instructor-led development in the classroom, and then a whole series of time with them in the water. So they're going to be critiquing your performance. You need to be clear on what they're looking for, what their grading system is, and making sure that you have an understanding with that person. Thirdly, and I've talked about this in many other videos as well, a tech instructor is more than just an instructor where at the end of your course you shake hands, say thank you very much, and never see each other again. It is very much an ongoing mentorship relationship. So if you want that person in your life on a long-term basis where you can continue to learn and grow from them even after your course is finished, you're going to want to choose that person really carefully before you start. So I always recommend that you interview a handful of tech instructors that you're considering spending your time and money with. Be those people in your hometown where you live, or if you can afford it, if the budget stretches to it, further afield and you can travel to them to train. And if you want to know what questions to ask a potential tech instructor that you're considering, lucky for you, I wrote an article called How to Interview Your Potential Tech Instructor, and I will link that article in the description of this video below. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this little two-part foray into the world of technical diving, this little peek behind the curtain of this opera of deep adventure. Where the hell did that come from? If you haven't done so already, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Click the little bell icon. It means the world to us. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help us to keep making these videos and keeps the channel alive. So thank you if you've already done that, and if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Let me know in the comments of this video below if you are considering accepting the challenge of technical diver training. If so, I wish you the very best of luck with it. And for your viewing pleasure, just here I will put a playlist to our other Mouthpiece Mondays, and just below that I will put a playlist that is aimed at dive instructors, dive masters and dive professionals. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is James. This was your Divers Ready Mouthpiece Monday for this week. Dive safe, dive often.